Remember, they're changing my voice and so on and so forth. Every time I make a video and I struggle with it or they interfere, everyone outside the divine order, all their loved ones and their offspring's eternal punishment is increased. Judging others. Remember, they're changing my voice. Judging others. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged, and with the same measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there's a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite, first take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. So it says, first take the plank out of your own eye. Now there's all kinds of connections here with the wood, right? The tree of knowledge. Okay, so they think they know better. Okay, they're not using the tree of life, they're using the tree of knowledge, worldly knowledge, and thinking that it can substitute for the knowledge of God. And of course it says you can judge. It says first remove the plank out of your own eye. Then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. So it says first get in the Royal African Falcon top martial arts order, right? I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. First be purified in Christ, okay, which is me, by rallying to me and obeying God through me. Okay, I'm the gate, so the Spirit is in me. I am the rally point, the real alpha point. Do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs. If you do, they may trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces. Okay, so this has women in martial arts and religious and leadership applications, children, etc. So it says, do not give these attractive females to the swine who cheat me out of my right to lead, regardless of how they're shaped, whether they're big, fat, tall, short, regardless of that. Okay, character. Okay, do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs. Do not go to church. They're dogs and pigs. Do not go to anyone else for guidance. Okay, unless you're sick and you're going to the doctor or something. And even then, be very wary and double check stuff as much as you can, because people are very evil. Okay, do not give your daughter away. That's part of why your marriage is invalid. You have this tradition of giving your daughter away. Okay, it's invalid. You gave to these dogs and these pigs outside the divine order, especially these more attractive women. And quite often, a lot of people are racist. Well, that's my race. Quite often, it's not their race. There's a reason why they have perky, I'm going to speak kind of bluntly. There's a reason why they're sexy. They have perky breasts and butt, because they're mixed with African. And this has been going on since before slavery, right? The Greeks and so on and so forth were mixing with Africans, the Romans. Okay, they are mixing with Persians and Africans. They're mixing with all kinds of people in the area. Okay, so it is not your race. African traits tend to be dominant. One can make a stronger case that it is the black race. It is the mulatto race. It is the mixed race. It is my race. If you people want to get all racial about it, then keep your inbred women with their titties flapping, okay, and their stupidity and their refusal to obey God through me. Take all those whores and stop brainwashing the mixed women. How's that sound? Obviously, I don't care about having a bunch of women, because I'm a one-woman man, and I don't think very highly of women at this point because of their betrayal of God. They've done me dirty in life, but that's not so much my concern. It's where it overlaps with betraying God, and it's the rebellion against my leadership in general. Okay? So you see, no path of any kind of romantic justice leads to them doing things the way that they're doing. Okay? The word repent is a play on words for the rape of on. Okay? For the rape of 10, the rape of 2, the rape 2, right? Serapis, see, rapes is, it's an anagram. Okay, pirate, rape it, prepare, pre-rape, compare, come rape, and all those rape words I talk about. Okay, corporates, right? Core pirate. How do they dress? How do they behave? Where do they get that money from? What do they use it for? Okay, they're just pirates. They're just scum. Fortune 500, fortune, right? Whose tomb? The devil's tomb. The devil offered Jesus what was it, Matthew 4? The kingdoms of the world. And the corporations basically run the kingdoms of the world. They're the spoiled brats. The rich corporations are the spoiled brats who run the kingdom of the world, and their kids inherit it, and so on and so forth. They're horrible, horrible people who made a deal with the devil, so to speak. Some are Satanists, and by this time, basically all of them are Satanists. I guess that they're always Satanists. I don't have that answer to a T, but certainly now they're, what, in terms of them being self-confessed Satanists. Well, I'm running out of time, so let's keep going. Ask, seek, knock. Asking and will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. Seek wisdom as if searching for hidden treasures, what it says in Proverbs, and so on and so forth. For everyone who asks receives, the one who seeks finds, and to the one who knocks the door will be opened. Knock before it is too late, obviously. Which of you, if your son asks for bread, will give them a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will give him a snake? It's interesting how in Matthew 4, and this is Matthew 7, right? In Matthew 4, he was saying, turn stones to bread. He said, man will not live on bread alone. Okay, there's connections there. You see how it's full of these riddles. When you look at a world full of misbehavior, disorganization, a house divided cannot stand, is it time to explore riddles or speak plainly? We'll get to that. We'll get to that. And this in Matthew 7, it clears that up as well, to some degree. Okay, so if he asks for a fish, we'll give him a snake. Okay, so how many of you, if you were the governing class, and Christ came and he asked for people to rally, he asked for women to present themselves, so you can choose a suitable helper, and for them not to play matchmaker, that's sick, that's childish, that's pathetic, would sink to their level. And try to get gays to harass them and catfish them and organize a harassment campaign against them. How many of you would take that pathetic, inhuman, childish, subhuman, unworthy angle? Okay? So you know they worship the devil. And you're in their cultures. You worship the devil. Okay. If you then, though you are evil. Okay, notice he says this, right? Write that down. Matthew 7:11. Okay, it's interesting. 7:11, right? The story. If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him? If you then, even though you are evil, will give your kids good things. Here's a bike for Christmas. Some of you buy them a car when they're 16. Okay, if you know how to do this, okay, how much more does God know how to do this? Okay, your gifts are pathetic compared to God's gifts, but you don't want to admit it to yourself. You say it's the spirit that counts. What spirit? Your spirit of rebellion, your spirit of white supremacy, of token minority behavior, your ghetto cultures? What spirit exactly? Of Zionism? Of controlled opposition to Zionism as a liberal Jew? What spirit exactly are you talking about? Anyway, so in everything do to others what you would have them do to you, for this sums up the law and the prophets. Do to others what you would have them do to you. I can't stress this one enough. In a sense, that is all that is needed to know in the Bible. If you have any sense, you'll apply it masterfully. So that's what you're being judged by. Did you treat Christ how you would have him treat you if you were Christ? No. Then you are guilty of breaking all the law and disrespecting and insulting and defying all the prophets. This is, you got to fulfill what the essence of the law means. The essence of the law. It sums up the law. It is the essence of the law. Okay? And if you were God, wouldn't you want people to love you with all their hearts? That's why he says it's the greatest commandment in a different chapter. Okay. The narrow and wide gates. Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. The whole rest of the world, but my parents at this point. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. You see all these Satanists, secular Satanists in America. When I was younger, for example, they would say things like, everyone's wrong, but you're right. When people thought the world was flat. Was that pretty much not the case when somebody said it's not flat? When people believed that the earth was the center, right? And not that the sun, not that the earth was rotating around the sun. There's a lot of examples of why that is. When someone's a top martial artist, basically all other martial artists are wrong about things that he's right about. There's a lot of reasons why they're wrong. Yes, I'm the son of two doctors, one a brain surgeon, from the natural alpha line of all of humanity, and look at how all of the rest of the world is behaving. So yes, I'm right, and they are wrong where it matters most. Okay, so notice first we're going to go the narrow and wide gates, the true and false prophets, the true and false disciples, and wise and foolish builders. This last half is extremely important. Pay close attention. True and false prophets. Watch out for false prophets, for they come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ferocious wolves. The wolf and the eagle are symbols of the Roman people, and they are not used differently to this day. They infiltrate indigenous people and their movements as well. The whole world is astray, but me and my parents are blameless. My parents and I are blameless. By their fruit you will recognize them, right? So he says in this chapter, he says, by their fruit you will recognize them. The next section he's going to say that people who are evildoers, right, what they did doesn't allow them to go to heaven. Then he's going to talk about the wise and foolish builders, right? It is deeds that get you into heaven, not faith alone. Okay, and you have to be in the Royal African Falcon Top Martial Arts Order, the true vine. Remain in me. I believe it's John 16 or something. Remain in me, the true vine. Okay. So by their fruit you will recognize them. Do people pick grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles, right? Do you look to the neo-colonialists or the token minority or the ghetto cultures, right, in their typical form, and somebody who's not transcendent from those groups? No. You don't pick from conformists. You don't go to politicians or police or military or social clubs or churches, right? Their fruit is an abomination. Likewise, every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. They should have accepted the boundary of not obeying God through me, especially not as people in occult neo-Roman cultures. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Thus by their fruits you will recognize them. By them not remaining in me, meaning they are not obeying God through me, you will recognize them, and no one will be qualified to lead after I am gone because of what they've done to this point, and it's irreversible there. But individuals can make it to heaven by scrambling to obey God through me. True and false disciples. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. So only the one who does the will of God, which is to obey the one he sent, the messenger, the Messiah, me. In some chapters like Psalm 45, you see me referred to as other things like God. They refer to me as God because to obey God through me is obeying God. That is the only way to obey God. And after I'm gone, there is no way to obey God. You're just reproducing little devils. Okay? With all due respect, if anyone's due, that is the situation. And the one who hates you will lie about it. And say he's being polite and say I'm being rude. Anyway, we're running out of time. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and in your name drive out demons, and in your name perform many miracles, like all these foolish churches and everyone else? So to speak, my name means the king of all the martial art principles, God's son, the essence, the gate, the light of the world, the Royal African Falcon Top Martial Arts, and the Royal African Falcon Top Martial Arts Spirit, as defined by me, and sick scum try to confuse us. Then I'll tell them plainly, I never knew you. Away from me, you evildoers. All these people in church praying, they're saying in Jesus' name. And I say, stop saying that. Okay? That is some kind of occult name anyway. And my name isn't Yeshua either. My name is Chukwu Emeka. Okay? My name is Chukwu Haru. You see what I'm saying? And evildoers do not make it to heaven. So the last section here, the key parts, is the wise and foolish builders. Okay? So notice how it went through, right? Judging others, ask, seek, knock, narrows the road, true and false prophets, true and false disciples, the wise and foolish builders. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, and the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against the house, yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. The foundation is righteousness and justice. We see that in Isaiah 28:17, one of my favorite scriptures, which says, make righteousness and justice the measuring line and plume line. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice, does not act, does not produce fruit and deeds, is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against the house, and it fell with a great crash, right? Set is a deity of deserts, right? Set's a Mesopotamian equivalent, a Middle Eastern equivalent is Baal, a Greek equivalent is Zeus, Roman equivalent is Jupiter, right? And of course, Zeus is symbolized by the eagle, so is Rome, so is Babylon, so is America. When Jesus had finished saying these things, the crowds were amazed at his teachings, because he taught as one who had authority and not as their teachers of the law. People are amazed at my martial art authority that is unmatched in human history and will never be matched, and they're amazed at the stupidity of the governing class and their workers for being dumb enough to interfere and edit my voice, etc.